What's shaking, YouTube? And welcome back to the Hollywood Rip Studio for episode number 1 of Hot in the Hobby. As always, I'm your host, Mr. Hollywood. That's Joe Nasty to my right, and welcome into the show where we go over what cards have been hot and what players have been seeing traction in the past week. Yes, we've split this up a bit. Cardboard Critics will still air as well as an invest segment only for you guys tomorrow.
Right.
And we've axed the cold card just because, like, bro, it's the cold card. But let's start off with the elephant in the room. I'm wearing a Dodgers hat with a Rays jersey. Why? Because of Andrew Friedman.
Yeah, obviously.
Duh.
But the people don't know who's on the back, and that's key.
Is it key?
Probably, I think it is. Fred McGriff, the crime dog, right?
Yes, sir.
Look, I think he finished at 497 career home runs. That's tough to swallow.
It is. It is. How he didn't come back and like Mr. through that movie, Mr. 3000.
Huh.
You know?
Yeah.
But let's get it started.
R.I.P. Bernie Mac.
Exactly. Anthony Richardson is spot number 1 on Hot Cards of the Week. The quarterback for the Indianapolis Colts. We talk about Anthony Richardson every third week. His 2023 Prism base card.
You wish it was 3 weeks.
Yes, 2 weeks. In a PSA 10 is up 145% over the past 2 weeks to $31.50 per card. This was a $10 card a couple weeks ago after he got benched. He is starting again. And in his first game back, he threw for 272 yards, 1 touchdown, and rushed for 2 touchdowns in a win over the Jets.
Who are hapless.
Yeah. Really, guys?
Yeah.
Like, today, they got throttled by the Lions. Which, sure, fine. But they scored 6 points at home.
Yeah.
They scored 6 points at home. This dude is still not good. He never has been good. He was never good in college. They're 5-7 after today's blowout, where, by the way, Anthony Richardson completed 11 of 28 passes. If you can't complete passes at home with no noise, forget about it. Forget about all the other games, right? Like, this is probably, like, the Colts are in probably the worst division in football,
Oh, yeah.
right? And, like, they can't even score more than 6 points at home. They almost lost to the Jets.
Yeah.
The Jets, Aaron Rodgers doesn't even want to play for the Jets anymore. He's only been there for like an Achilles tear in 10 weeks,
Right.
right? I mean, Anthony Richardson, guys, come on. Like, unless you believe that raw athleticism with probably the worst vision and throwing skill set at starting quarterback in the NFL is something to invest in. Sorry, Anthony Richardson is not a good quarterback. I know you're in the same boat. Do we even need to talk? Let's just move to the next one.
No, like,
Let's just move to the next one.
look, they gave up on him already. And they thought old man Joe Flacco was a better option to win.
Yeah.
Realized that wasn't going to happen. Yeah, this is, no, just please.
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 But let's move on to a hot card that is worth your attention.
I agree.
We're talking about Justin Herbert. Quarterback, of course, for the Los Angeles Chargers of Los Angeles. His 2020 Prism base rookie card in a PSA 10 is up 57.6% over the past week to $84.33 per card. This was a $50 card-ish just a week ago, and even lower a couple weeks before that. Justin Herbert is, I mean, dare I even say quietly? I'll say quietly because, like, LA doesn't have football fans. He's quietly putting up a pretty phenomenal season. 2,186 yards. These are not updated with today's numbers. 13 touchdowns to just 1 interception with a quarterback rating of 102.1. The Chargers they were 7-3 heading into today.
I think they play tomorrow, don't they?
Or they play tomorrow night, yeah.
So Numbers don't need to be updated.
Yeah, don't need to be updated yet. But they're 7-3. They trail only Kansas City by a couple games in the AFC West. Huge Monday night game tomorrow night against the Ravens, though.
Oh, yeah.
It will be at home.
The Harbaugh Bowl.
That's going to tell a lot about this Chargers team.
Yes.
And I know where you stand on Justin Herbert, and I get it. He's a massive talent.
Yes.
Lad McConkey is actually kind of starting to emerge as like a legitimate target for him. That's his biggest problem.
Had some huge catches last week.
He did. But at the end of the day, for me, I just think they need more star power on offense. J.K. Dobbins has been solid. The Gus Bus is back now, too.
Yes, he is.
I can see Justin Herbert's value increasing more this season. I can. But I think he is capped by what is around him. I love him. I love the coaching staff, which is probably the biggest win so far this year.
Yeah.
I just don't love the supporting cast. Give him a big-time wide receiver one or big-time tight end, and I would be all in on Justin Herbert. I just think the prices are going to steadily tick up this year, and I just don't know. I just don't know that the value is there because you need big players to win big games in the playoffs. Bottom line, they just don't have that. It's going to be all on Justin Herbert or nothing. A lot of pressure. I would personally rather wait to the offseason until these cards are down 30% again. Then I would consider buying it if the Chargers decide to invest in some bigger offensive pieces. Your thoughts?
So, love the talent. Love the physical intangibles. That stuff is undeniable, I think. I hear what you're saying about the weapons. Yes, in terms of the weapons, they're a little bit light around Justin Herbert, although they do still have a first-round receiver in that mix. Just depends how you feel about Quentin Johnston.
Yeah.
I don't love him either, but at the end of the day, they did a different regime, albeit, but they did draft wide receiver in the first round last year.
They did.
Here's the thing about Harbaugh, though. This is why I'm still in on Herbert right now, even despite the lack of weapons, whatever you want to call it. Every stop that Harbaugh's gone, I'm not going to speak about his time at University of San Diego, but I will start at Stanford. Stanford, the Niners, Michigan, and now the Chargers always starts with a really tough physical identity up front, and then everything goes back from there. Joe Alt has been a revelation at right tackle, so I would be over here. Rashawn Slater has been very good win on the field ever since they drafted him 3 years ago at left tackle. There's your foundation. They have the Gus Bus, Gus Edwards, like you said. They have J.K. Dobbins. And then from there, you put in perhaps a top 5, top 3 best physical talent under center. To me, that's enough. And it starts with what Harbaugh does. And he did this at Stanford with Toby Gerhart.
Yeah.
He did this in San Francisco. He did this with Michigan, who was beyond physical. He's changed the identity of a team that was lobbing it up to Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. And so I think, yes, the value in terms of like where it's at right now and how far they'll probably go isn't there. But I'm in on Herbert. I'm not ever really going to be out on Herbert for a while.
But again, it's like, I think we're both in on Herbert's talent. But on the card is another scenario, another story, right? Because this is going to steadily creep up. This team's 7-3. This team could be 8-3 tomorrow night with a win over the Ravens.
I'll say the thing is, they've had these nationally televised games, and they have that game against the Chiefs. I think even now, where the price is at, if you got in right now, there's a chance with these nationally televised games,
if they win them,
which will be tough.
They will.
But then it'll skyrocket from here. Because
that is true. I'll give you that.
You watched the game last week, and some of the throws he just puts on tape, insane.
Yeah, they're crazy.
Yeah,
they're crazy. But let's move to hot card number 3 because that is Darius Garland, point guard for the Cleveland Cavaliers. His 2019 Prism Silver in a PSA 10 is up 61.3% over the past 2 weeks to $99.25. This was a $60 card just 2 weeks ago. What has Darius Garland done in 2024? Well, he has scored 20.6 points, rebounded to the tune of 2.4 rebounds. He's a point guard.
That's pretty good, though.
Not bad. 7 assists, but 49% shooting from the field, 43% shooting from downtown. Wow. The Cavs are a league best 16-1 as of the filming of this show, having lost to Boston on the road last week to clinch their first loss of the season. They almost pulled off a crazy comeback in that game too.
Yeah.
I get why this Darius Garland card is up a lot. He's a great player. He's running the ship for the best team in the NBA so far.
So far.
But I'm also kind of like, I'm just not sure where Darius Garland stacks up relative to Evan Mobley and Donovan Mitchell. Because I think all three of these guys are I feel like no one like stands above the crowd. I'd say, Donovan Mitchell's definitely the most accomplished player of these three, for sure. But like, in terms of investment, in terms of buying the card, I don't know if I would buy Darius Garland versus Evan Mobley or Donovan Mitchell if this team is going to be this good. I could see all three of them being a good play.
Yeah.
But, I don't watch enough Cavs basketball, so I probably don't have enough to speak on for Darius Garland. I know you know Darius Garland better than I do. What do you think of him?
Yeah, we're really tight.
Yeah, they're tight. They text all the time.
Darius, great game. Tough loss against the Celtics. Thank you. He's really polite. I actually personally do love Darius Garland.
Okay.
And I've loved him since I saw him in person in a game when he was at Vanderbilt, actually, at the Galen Center at USC. Stood out then. You could tell that this was a guy who, honestly, physically doesn't really stand out, especially in the NBA, but right attitude. Look, the 43% from three is going to go down.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That'll go down.
That's crazy.
But here's the thing. If you're going to ask the question, I'm going to answer it. And yes, in terms of that team, as much as I love Garland, Evan Mobley to me is a guy. And I think if this team goes anywhere, and I think if this team makes an Eastern Conference semifinals or even a conference finals, I think one person is going to stand out in that series. And to me, I think it's Evan Mobley, who I think is a pretty special player.
I think so too.
Who's been pretty buried in like the small market of Cleveland.
I think so too.
Even with the trade of Donovan Mitchell and this hot start, I think Evan Mobley's really fantastic.
I think so too, and I'm a little more inclined to put money into Evan Mobley than I am Darius Garland. That's just me, but you do what you got to do because we're moving on to card number 4.
This one's gonna be fun.
Is it though?
I don't know how you feel.
Shedeur Sanders.
Is this our first time talking about someone that's still in college?
I think so.
I think so too.
Colorado Buffs, of course.
He thinks he's a pro, so might as well.
His 2023 Bowman Chrome U first Bowman card in a PSA 10 was up 37.5% to $55 per card over the past week. This was a $40 card 1 week ago.
Then what happened?
So far, and I know you're itching to talk about this. 3,222 passing yards, 27 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. In his career, he has thrown for over 13,000 yards, 124 touchdowns, and 24 interceptions. This dude is so much better than Anthony Richardson in college. The Buffs are 8-3. That is good for, I think they just dropped down now to, what, third?
It's carnage. In the
Third or fourth in the Big 12 now? Because they took a tough loss to the Kansas Jayhawks this weekend, badly. Actually, it wasn't tough. On the road. Side note, he went to Kansas.
Sure did.
And don't look now, but your Jayhawks have rattled off 3 straight ranked wins.
Sure did.
Iowa State, BYU, and Colorado.
Yep.
And they probably should have beaten K-State the week before that too.
Yeah.
But
I don't know where this team was at the beginning of the year. It was no, truly, they're a good roster.
But we're digressing.
Yes.
The Buffs' conference title hopes took a big shot with this loss to Kansas. They were ranked 16, so they will now surely drop into the 20s or maybe even out of the rankings. And the bigger thing is had they won out, they probably would have gotten into the playoff.
I think so.
But this pretty much kills their hopes of being in the playoffs. Am I in or out on Shedeur Sanders? I am probably out, honestly. The system is literally built around him. Like when your dad's the coach. Like you're going to get put in positions to put up crazy numbers. And that's what Dion wants, right?
Yes.
By the way, side note, this is kind of funny.
Yeah.
Shedeur Sanders has 8 rushing touchdowns in the past 2 years. 8 rushing touchdowns the past 2 years. Guess how many yards he has gained on those 8 rushing touchdowns combined?
I'm going to assume he's no Lamar Jackson.
Just guess. How many rushing yards does he have in the last 2 years with those 8 touchdowns?
32.
No.
Oh, what is it?
Less.
Less.
You ready for this one?
12.
Negative 88.
Oh, like total, like career.
Total.
So sacks, yeah.
Total. Yeah. But I just thought it was funny.
No, that is good.
Out on Shedeur as well, I'm guessing.
I'm so far out on Shedeur. I honestly can't stand this being a top QB prospect.
Yeah.
If my daddy set up 7-on-7 tournaments within a real football game without a care in the world for a running game or like building an offensive line, like they just drop back and fire away just to beef up my numbers, then yeah, I think I'd look pretty good as a QB prospect too. I don't love the mindset. Say what you want about me.
Backyard football.
But it's backyard football. It's truly like, hey, it's 3rd and 1 on the goal line. Should we go out of the shotgun and just like run goes for days?
Yeah, I feel like Shedeur just gets into the huddle and he's like, yo, just go deep. I'll find you. He just says, I'll find you.
Yeah, basically. Like, look, yes, he is accurate. He's got good form. But just like, I think there's something to be a QB also, being able to like stare at the other men in the huddle around you and be like, I'm a leader. And I think when he gets to the NFL, that's like, it's not going to land, especially with like rough and tumble offensive linemen.
Yeah.
So you brought up the name, and you got to stop reading my notes before we get here.
I can't see your notes.
I
They're
know.
so small.
Then we were very much on the same wavelength. But in the same vein as Anthony Richardson, I don't agree with you. What has Shedeur actually done at Colorado? They blew chunks last year. Like, this was a team that beat an overrated TCU team in week 1, and everyone like blew up their pants over it. And then they won, 3 games last year? And this year, they just choked away a shot at the Big 12 championship game in a year where they were kind of already towards the bottom of the heap as it was. So what has he actually done in college other than put up numbers in a system that's geared for him and Travis Hunter to look really good?
But he has so much swag.
He has so much swag. I didn't realize his Gatorade towel, but I didn't realize he had personalized Gatorade towels with gold money signs on it until yesterday.
It's ridiculous. It's
Like,
a little ridiculous.
You want that to be a leader of an organization?
Yeah, no, I'm out on him too. I'm out.
I don't want to sound like first takey up here, but like there's something to like, you can have like Lamar Jackson's swagalicious.
100%.
But that guy, that guy's in there grinding and connecting.
He's a dog in the film room and with the guys in practice. You just know it.
Yeah.
But that will wrap things up for us on this week's episode of Hot in the Hobby. Hope you enjoyed episode 1 of this week's Hot Cards of the Week. Hope you join us tomorrow for the Cardboard Critics podcast, where we talk all about what cards to look out for and potentially invest in going forward. If you enjoy the content, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe down below. As always, I'm Mr. Hollywood. That's Joe Nasty. We'll see you guys tomorrow. The boys out.